Hey guys, and welcome back. So today we're going over the knights. The knights are really interesting pieces because they have this unique way of moving on the board. And because of this unique way of moving around, they are very tricky, as you will see. If we did some brainstorming and someone said to me, knights, first thing that would come to my mind would be outposts. So outposts are really important when we talk about the knights, and the outposts are basically the squares that are very good for your knight, from where it's very effective piece and opponent's pawns can't really attack your knight here, and your knight is also protected by your pawns. And it's just amazing when you get your knight on that square. With that being said, we can look at this position that it's set up, and you can see that it's symmetrical. And I want you to pause the video and think about where you would put your knights if you played that game. Well, if you came up with these two squares, then you're on the right way. You did a great job. Now, why these two squares are the best for your knights? Like I said, these are the outposts. Your opponent can't easily attack your knights with his pawns and are just effective, are causing problems to opponent's territory, and they're just beasts on these posts. In the last video we talked about bishops, and we said that bishops really like open positions and open diagonals. Well, when we're talking about the knights, we could say that it's the exact opposite of the bishops, because knights really like closed positions, because closed positions aren't a problem for them because they can jump over pieces while bishops can't. So that's the main reason why closed positions favor knights. So if I were white here, I would play knight to c3 and just go for these outposts. Next moves are this, and this would just be perfect for me. I mean, my opponent in this position would most probably try to do the same. He can try to prevent this and just challenge my knight here. That's one way of dealing with this, but now it doesn't really work because of this check. But that's one way of dealing with a good knight on an outpost, to challenge it. And another way is for him to find his own outpost here, because in this position here, white and black, they both have their own outposts, and they should definitely look for these outposts. So our next example shows you the importance of close positions when it comes to knights and the outposts. Um, so here you can see we have a close position. Black has a bishop and white has a knight, and you can clearly see that this bishop is not active. He doesn't have open diagonals that bishops need to have, and we have a knight which is very well placed on an outpost. uh, Knights can't really attack him, and it's being really effective. Okay, so in this position you can see this white knight is just a beast. It's just dominating the whole board, and if it's black to move, black has only one move here because white is attacking his pawn, so he has to go there, which is really bad, and just passively defend this pawn because this knight is such a beast. And our plan is just to come there with our king and just take all these pawns and win the game. A possible continuation, maybe, like, he can't even move his king because he would lose his pawn, so that's why he has to move his bishop. But also this pawn is hanging, so he has to just play this with his bishop, and we just come into his position And here we're actually just winning a piece here, um, because this bishop is so bad, it's so passive. Uh, but just to show you, we could also take this pawn, and then if he tries to just bring the king to the center, we can just check him, and he again has to go back to defend this pawn. So that's why knights are very tricky and really very good pieces when it comes to closed positions. So the next example shows us why the knights are the best blockaders. Um, it's actually an example from a book from Jeremy Silman, but knights are the best blockaders because they can attack other pawns or other I don't know, squares, pieces, and they don't lose their mobility because knights can jump over other pieces and they can attack these pawns, right? This bishop can't do this. If a pawn was, I don't know, somewhere here, this bishop couldn't attack this pawn, and this knight can. So it's a problem here. If black goes, let's say, here, and this pawn falls, and this knight also controls this square. So that's why knights are very good blockaders. And so in this position, you just come um, here on the queen side with your king and just take everything. Uh, okay, this is not probably not the best. He has to go there to defend this pawn also, and you just come here, and then on the next move you play c6, and you just promote to a queen and win the game. So that's why in a position where your opponent has a passed pawn, you should definitely put your knight between passed pawn and the promotion square, block it as quickly as possible because, as you know, passed pawns are really dangerous. Knights are also a good defenders of your king. You can see from a lot of openings, your knight will stand on the square f3 or c3 or c6 or f6, and from there you can see they are really good defenders of your king. They guard this square and also block this file, and they can also move here, but they're just good defenders of your king. Just I just wanted to mention this. And I will show you the proof why also knights are great defenders in this next example. Okay, so in this example you can see a very good idea that was shown in a lot of grandmaster games and just from players that are very good at chess. Uh, Here your knight really wants to join the defense of the king because these bishops are just too active on these diagonals. He's threatening really nasty, really nasty threats here. And you don't really want to bring your knights here to f3 because your opponent is just going to take it and ruin your pawn structure, also win this pawn, and it's just going to be very bad for you. And if this rook was there, it would also be checkmate. So that's why you want to bring your knight to f1. This is a really cool idea, just saying my knight is a good defender. It might look passive here, but it's serving it's doing a really good job, and it can also move to g3 whenever he wants. And you can play this knight to f1 move, and just don't weaken your position like this with moving your pawns. So just keep that idea in mind, it's just pretty useful. Now we also have to mention on which ranks the knights are the best and on which ranks the knights are not that great. And I can just show you that on the first rank, knights are usually not developed or just defensive, like I showed you in previous example when defending the king. If they're on the second rank, they're also probably a defensive piece, but they also look to this to some central squares to just create some pawn breaks or just hit the center. While on the third rank, mm, they're pretty good. Hitting that um, they're hitting that uh, center, and they can also jump to some useful squares to attack. Well, knights on the fourth rank are usually very good. They are really causing some problems to the opponent. They can jump into the sixth rank. They're just they can go wherever they want. They can even move back if they want, and just have that possibility to jump back here and cause some problems. The knights on the fifth rank are just beasts, and also the sixth rank. Usually they're just trying to get a fork, or they're on a good outposts if they're on a fifth or sixth rank, and your opponent will usually try to exchange them if they're that far here and just annoying to him. And if knights are on the seventh or the eighth rank, this means that they're too far away. Especially if they're on the 8th rank, it usually means they just ate a rook, or just ate something, just took something, a piece, and they have to go back to some useful squares, because from there they don't really attack a lot of squares anymore, like they did, for example, on the 5th rank. So that's why we can say the knights are usually the best on the 4th, 5th, and the 6th rank. What I want you to remember from today's video and always keep in mind is I listed these things here. Um, so the first one is the knights really like close positions because they can jump over pieces. Pawns aren't in a way from them like they are for the bishops. And then the second thing is always look for the outposts, because from there your knights are going to be just monsters, are going to be very good, and with some experience you will always, without thinking about the outposts, you will see them in opposition, I promise you. And thirdly, knights are awesome blockaders. They can attack other pieces or pawns while just blockading a passed pawn, and they can also take it, and then they don't lose any mobility. They can go back and just jump over pieces, like I said. Lastly, the knights are really great defenders of your king. You usually have them on the third rank, and they really protect your king. You also have to keep in mind this defensive idea of the knight going to, let's say, f1 square and protecting your h2 square. This is really a great idea. Knights really are very tricky pieces, but you have to take them seriously because they can cause you very big problems. Remember this. As always, thank you guys for watching. If you like my videos, please subscribe, share, and like the videos, and I'll see you in the next video.